Welcome back for today's NBA pick video play for October 17th, 2018. In this one, talking about this Eastern Conference matchup between the Nets and the Pistons. If you're interested in getting all of our NBA picks for today's action, as well as going through the rest of the regular season, you can access those every single day over at stumpthespread.com, which is linked down in the video description. So coming into this one, the Nets coming in as underdogs, getting about 5 points. And just big picture for both of these teams, this year, 2018-19 NBA regular season, you have the Nets, who are almost assuredly probably going to come up short of making the postseason. This is a franchise that has been the laughingstock of the Eastern Conference over the past half decade. Although the Brooklyn Nets were a bit more competitive last year than the very low expectations that people had set for them, at least that's a positive sign for Brooklyn, and they're going to be trying to take another step this season. We'll see if they're able to do that. Their starting lineup consisting of guys like D'Angelo Russell, who they brought over from the Lakers last year, and then Allen Crabbe, Damari Carroll, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, Jared Allen. Not necessarily the kind of starting lineup that you would typically expect to make a postseason run, but the fact that the Eastern Conference overall is kind of wide open with LeBron James moving over to the Western Conference. Perhaps the Nets can surprise some people and get closer to a 500 record. That's probably a stretch, though. And then the Pistons, in terms of their bigger picture for this season, a big disappointment last year, coming up short of making the playoffs. And really the issue for this Pistons team in recent years has been injuries, primarily to the point guard, Reggie Jackson. When he's been able to stay healthy, the Pistons have been a much better team. Also, they bring in a guy like Blake Griffin, who I think can have a very strong impact within the Eastern Conference, more so than what he was able to have with relative success over in the Western Conference. But coming in here, teaming up with a guy like Andre Drummond, a younger version of a guy he used to play with, DeAndre Jordan. And Andre Drummond, he made big strides last year. He, for the most part, fixed his free throw woes last season, so that was less of a liability. Teaming up with a guy like Blake Griffin, I think, can have a positive impact on his still relatively young career. But with this Pistons team, if they're going to have success and prove a lot of the naysayers wrong, they have to stay healthy. Easier said than done when you have two of your starters, Blake Griffin and Reggie Jackson, who have had injury concerns throughout their respective careers. And then also another thing new with the Pistons is they bring in NBA Coach of the Year over from the Toronto Raptors, Dwayne Casey. He's a very analytics-driven head coach. We're going to see a lot more three-point shots from the Pistons this season. I think that can also have a positive effect on this team. Their starting lineup, you got Reggie Jackson, Reggie Bullock. Bullock had a big coming out season last year, one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. I think he can have a very positive effect. And then you have Luke Kennard right behind him, a dangerous three-point shooter. And then Stanley Johnson, he has to figure things out. I actually think that Stanley Johnson, he's probably going to lose his starting job if he doesn't specifically figure things out in terms of his offensive capabilities, because Glenn Robinson III is right there. He could very well take over that small forward position within this rotation. I think the Pistons might be better off, or maybe they want to keep Glenn Robinson III in the second unit, so there isn't as much of an offensive drop-off with that unit. We'll see how that plays out. And then, of course, the big guys, Griffin and Drummond, who should both have solid campaigns, respectively. So I think this Pistons team might be a little bit undersold coming into the year, and part of that might just be the fact because the Pistons in recent years have generally underperformed expectations, and that's been tied to injury issues. But coming into this one on their home court, they obviously have the better overall talent. I'd even give them the coaching edge with Dwayne Casey coming in here and manning that position for the Pistons now in the 2018-19 regular season. So with all that being the case, we're going to go ahead side with the home team, Detroit Pistons, to go on and cover this 5-point spread. If you agree, give the video a thumbs up. Disagree, give it a thumbs down. Check out all of our NBA picks over at stumpthespread.com. Linked down in the video description. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you guys back here for tomorrow's video.